volume is filling up something. So a can of Pepsi and filling it up with a liquid, or filling it with sand, or filling something with something. This is surface area. Surface area is going around the outside. This is like if I want to paint my walls of my room, I need to know how much I'm going to need. So this is going around the outside. Or if I'm wrapping a present, this is an area all around a three-dimensional figure. So surface area is how much is going to fit around something if I'm wrapping a present. So for this quarter, quarter one, we're just doing square base pyramids. And then we're also doing cones. So these are the only two shapes that are fair game for your midterm. They're on your cycle one. Midterm is the main thing that matters. That goes on your grade towards like your semester grade. So for pyramids, and this is also on your formula sheet. I put the formula sheets out. You should hopefully be looking at them. You need to be familiar with them. You do not need to remember these formulas. The good thing is the best standards, when we switch tests like a year ago or something, they give you all the formulas. 2 years ago, these formulas were not given. So although the formula sheet looks crazy and it's got a bunch of stuff on it, before they would have to remember everything. So now your formulas are there. You just have to recognize what it is. So for surface area, it says surface area equals big B. Big B is the area of the base plus 1/2 the perimeter of the base multiplied by the slant height. If you look at your formula sheet, for what is this, pyramids? For pyramids, there is 2 different surface area formulas. They mean exactly the same thing. It's big B plus 1/2 the perimeter. And then this says HS and this one says L. They mean the same thing. If you look in the key, they even gave you a key, which is nice. S, H, or HS and L both mean slant height. So they both mean the same exact thing. It's just which one you prefer. I like to put the H with the little S because it literally means height, and the S stands for slant. That means it's not straight up, it is slanted. So that's the formula I tend to use just because I think it makes more sense whenever people are looking at it. So multiplied by the slant height. So we're going to plug in our numbers. What shape is my base, first off? It's a square. How do you find the area of a square? Okay, so you could square it quite literally. You could say S squared because it's side squared, or how else can you find the area of a square? Yeah, which is like length times width. Most people think length times width. If you think S squared, both are the same thing because either way you're taking the same number and you're multiplying by itself because it's a square. So I'm going to do 8 to the power of 2. Because it's a square, it's really 8 times 8. I'm going to bring down my plus sign and bring down my 1/2 because that's in the formula. Perimeter, there is 4 sides, 4 times 8, because it would be 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. If you want to skip that step and you literally just put the perimeter, 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, which is 8 times 4, and just put 32, that's fine. For the sake of me showing the class, I'm going to show every single step, okay? So you guys can combine steps. So the perimeter multiplied by the slant height. What's my slant height? 16. So it's slant height because it's on the side. And now I am simplifying. I'm combining my terms. So I'm going to do my exponents. So what is 8 squared? 64. And I'm adding. And now it doesn't matter which way I multiply this. I can do 1/2 times 4 times 8 times 16. I could do 4 times 8 times 16 and then cut in half. It doesn't matter. Either way, I'm going to get the same number. So if I use a calculator, don't hurt your brains. If I do 0.5, because it's 1/2, multiplied by 4, multiplied by 8, multiplied by 16, I get 256. And now I'm just adding that to 64. So when I add it, what do I get? 320. Since it's area, your feet is going to be squared. So your units are squared for area because you're filling out the outside. Volume was 3-dimensional. We're filling in the inside. So that was cubed. What's up? So this is the area, which is length times width, so 8 times 8. And then you're also multiplying by 1/2 the perimeter of the base. So I have 4 sides to my base. And it's a square, so 4 times 8. So you could either put literally 32 there because you're combining a step, or you can put 4 times 8. Okay. Let's do another one. So same formula. I'm doing big B. It has to be a square. When we get to Q4, the shape is going to change. It's going to be like a rectangle and it's going to be a triangle and stuff. But for semester 1, Q1, Q2, it's going to be a square. So I'm going to do the base. The area of the base is length times width. So what am I multiplying? 4 squared. I'm adding 1/2. What is the perimeter of my base going to be? Times 16. And times my slant height. Slant height is 10. Four squared is 16. I'm adding, and then I could do 1/2, which is 0.5. 0.5 times 16, half of 16 is 8. 8 times 10 gives me what? 80. So if I add them together, what do I get? 96. So it's 96 centimeters squared. So try the last one. You're doing the area of the base. The base is going to be a square for semester 1 and 2. The area perimeter or the perimeter. Oh, it's the where. And then times. Okay. So you're doing the area of the base. So length times width. It's a square, so you're doing 11 times 11 or 11 squared plus 1/2 multiplied by the perimeter. Now, if it's a square, what's the perimeter of my base going to be?
44.
44, because it's 4 sides that are 11. So I'm just going to put 44. Multiplied by my slant height is 16. 11 squared. 11 squared gives me 121. If I take 0.5 multiplied by 44, I get 22. 22 times 16, what am I bringing down? 352. And then if I add them together, I get 473. Did we get that? Okay, cool. So now we're going to change the shape. Now that we got used to one thing, we're going to change it. Surprise. Okay, so now we're going to do cones. These are pyramids. Think like Egypt pyramid. Okay, now we're going to cones, like ice cream cone. So ice cream cone is a different formula. It's also on the formula sheet. You do not need to remember it. So surface area is equal to big B. Big B is the area of the base. Big B. Now, big B, if my base is a circle, how do I find the area of a circle? Because this is the base. Pi r squared. So this is tricky because it's a circle. We have to plug in pi r squared. Just like on Friday, we have to plug in the formula to the formula. The area of the base is a circle. So I'm doing pi r squared plus pi r multiplied by the slant height. So it looks weird, but I'm using it twice. So I am going to do surface area equals pi. My radius is what? 3.2. I'm adding pi again. I have the radius multiplied by the slant height. So my radius is 3.2 again. And I'm multiplying by the slant height, which is 6.5. Friday's stuff, realistically, you should have did in middle school. This is new to everyone. So this is brand new. No? No, you're using the pi button. So we're going to use the pi button. We're going to have, just like on Friday, we're going to have, oh my God, can we stop? We're going to have two types of answers. We're going to have the exact answer, and then we're going to have a rounded answer. So right now I'm just dealing with the numbers. I'm going to leave pi completely alone. So I'm going to do 3.2 to the power of 2. I get 10.24 pi. That's that side. Bring down my plus sign. And then I'm going to do 3.2 times 6.5. So I get 20.8 pi, because just like on Friday, I'm just going to stick pi in the back, and I'm going to deal. They're both, think about them as variables. If this is 2x and this is 3x, I'm just adding them together because they both have like terms. So if I take 20.8 and I add 10.24, I get 31.04 pi. That's the exact answer for the surface area. Okay, because you weren't here on Friday. So there's two types of answers. This is in terms of pi. The rounded answer, just like on Friday, I can take that and multiply by the pi button. You're not using 3.14. You're going to use the pi button. So I'm going to press times EXP. It depends on what the directions say. So I'm going to put both. Okay, we're going to skip the second one. Because this is Q4. If you look at this, a slant height is not given. A normal height is given. So you'd have to use the Pythagorean theorem to find the slant height first, which is what we're going to do Q4. But right now, I feel like I'm already like mind blowing you. So like, we're not going to do that right now. We're going to save that for Q4. Okay, because that's an extra step. So let's find the surface area of this one, because the slant height is given, not the regular height. So try to plug in your numbers. I'll show you your formula. Big B is the area of the base, which is pi r squared because it's a cone. The base is a circle. Anytime you're dealing with pi, you have two types of answers. You have a pi answer and you have a rounded answer. Try to plug in your numbers. Try. Try to plug in your numbers. Pie's right here. So I just put the pie, what we did on,
Like plus pi times. I like it's above. Yes.
So-
You just multiply those.
yeah. So what we did on Friday, we talked about, think about it as a variable. Just stick it in the back. Instead of saying x2, you say 2x. Instead of saying y3, you say 3y. So it goes in the back. So that's how you should have. How you should have plugged it in. Now I'm simplifying. So I'm gonna do 4.6 to the second power. Because this is the radius. Yeah.
Like something happening. Yeah, that's.
Like, I always felt that. But then when I got to this. That's the only thing I'm also. Now it's saying when I'm also obviously saying. Okay.
So you should get 71.76 pi as the exact answer in terms of pi rounded. I'm multiplying by the pi button. I'm not using 3.14. I'm using the pi button. The pi button is the EXP button in your calculator. When you do IXL on Wednesday, it says the only time you're using 3.14 is if it says use 3.14. Okay. But normally if it does not say, you're using the pi button. The pi button is the whole exact answer. If you're using a piece of pi, it's technically rounding it twice. You're rounding it at the end and you're rounding it within the problem. What's up?
Oh. Why is it 71.76?
Because do you understand from how I went from here to here
Yeah.
and here to here? So then I think about it as like, don't write this, but like 2x plus 5x is 7x. Yeah, so you just combine. Right? So start working on the back. You have, I think, 5 problems.